All right, so some of you might remember the video I made about the 10 most anticipated horror films of the summer in 2025. The Toxic Avenger ended up on that list, or mainly because it had been sitting on the shelf for a number of years, so I thought that notoriety meant that it was something that we all definitely needed to go and see. I have now seen The Toxic Avenger, and folks, believe it or not, it is one of my favorite films of the year. So tonight in movie reviews, we're talking The Toxic Avenger. Stay tuned. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Again, tonight in movie reviews, we are talking The Toxic Avenger. Now, of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, no matter where you are tuning in to catch this review. We got a lot of great content up on the channel and a lot of really good stuff coming up that I'm going to talk about here at the end of the show. And of course, it's time to have a little bit of fun because it is September 1st, folks. That means it is the start of the 2025 spooky season, the scary season, the Halloween season, whatever you want to call it. No, we don't stop watching horror films no matter what time of year that it is. But if you're in the know, you know that when September 1st hits up until October 31st, we're trying to squeeze in every horror movie that we can because it's like they have double the power when you're watching in September and October. It's just something spookier about watching it during those times. So I want to know, you let me know in the comment section here, what is the first horror film that you are checking out to start this season up? I myself, last night at midnight, I checked out Sinister as my first watch of the season. Can't go wrong there with that one. That's an absolute classic, but I want to know what y'all are checking out. Give me some ideas of some stuff that I can get some reviews up here over the next couple of months here. Maybe some new stuff that I have not seen yet. Let me know that there in the comment section, folks. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right on into things here with The Toxic Avenger. If you have not seen the trailer for this one before, set in a fantasy world, the film follows janitor Winston Goose, who after a freak accident transforms into a mutant vigilante known as Toxie. Armed with his mop, the unlikely hero battles freaks, gangsters, and corrupt CEOs while trying to save his relationship with his son. And there it is, y'all. That is The Toxic Avenger. Now, if you're not aware, this is a reboot, a remake, a reimagining of a 1984 film produced by Troma. It is a cult classic. I remember seeing it as a kid around like 10 or 11. And what specifically stands out in my mind, and is very different from the way it works out here in this new film, the way that the lead character Melvin becomes the Toxic Avenger in the original film after being bullied relentlessly by a bunch of jocks. Melvin ends up jumping out a window of a swim club and ends up landing inside a vat of toxic waste. That toxic waste imbues him with ridiculous strength and not much of anything else, and of course gives him his toxic makeover. That is what I specifically remember from that original film because I saw it at such a young age. I felt so bad for Melvin. The scene to where you see him getting out of the toxic waste and he's just screaming and he ends up like becoming like getting set on fire at a certain point and the skin is bubbling. I thought it was scary. It was traumatizing. It was so heartbreakingly sad. And that's one of the greatest things there, to have you feeling so many things about a film like The Toxic Avenger. That's not a knock on it, y'all. I like The Toxic Avenger, but I think we can all be real here. If we showed that film to majority of our friends, majority of our people, we are probably gonna get a strange look or two. And I don't mean the look when you try to show them the new horror film that you caught in theaters last week. I mean the look as if you just showed them stinking, rotting garbage and they don't know what the hell is wrong with you. That is probably what would happen if you showed the majority of your people The Toxic Avenger. They don't have taste. I get it. My friends would do that as well too. But it's never going to be accused of being something that appealed to the general public. And what's very interesting here about this new Toxic Avenger film is that I actually think the opposite. A large part of me legitimately feels that this new Toxic Avenger film actually works better for the wider, broader audience than it does for fans of that original film. Don't get me wrong. Macon Blair, who writes and directs this movie, ends up putting a lot of really clever nods to the original film here into this one. For example, the bad guy of this movie, Bob, played by Kevin Bacon. There are multiple times throughout this film where he's referred to as Bozo. And if you've seen the original film, you know that the bad guy in the original Toxic Avenger is named Bozo. There's a point here during the film that's used in the trailers to where a group of bad guys, a group of thugs, end up holding up a fast food restaurant. Something, again, that's featured in that original film as well, too. JJ, the reporter that's investigating Bob's pharmaceutical company, her boss, Melvin Ferd, is the name of the Toxic Avenger in the original film. So it's very clear that writer-director Macon Blair has a affinity, a love, has respect for that original film, but it seems very clear he did not let that hold him back from putting something that again appeals just to a wider audience. I felt very much going through this that it felt in ways similar to like Kick-Ass, for example, a film that for sure parodied the superhero genre, but at the same time, it actually offered something new and elevated it as well. Like, I feel that films like Kick-Ass forced a lot of these studios that are pumping out superhero films on the regular, and yeah, I know, we're just talking Marvel and DC mostly, but I think it actually forced the studios to look and say, like, we have to actually do something a little bit more hard-edged here. We have to have a little bit more blood. It's got to be a bit more brutal at this point. We can't just keep doing the same bit of fluff, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but the same fluff that we've been offering audiences for a while at this point. And it does seem that after the release of Kick-Ass, that we did start to see a bit of a shift in that culture. And the Toxic Avenger, again, feels like it fits in with what Kick-Ass was trying to do, to where you can clearly see it has a reverence for superhero tales, because the mere story of how Winston Goose becomes the Toxic Avenger, a dad down on his luck, working as a janitor at a local pharmaceutical company, finds out that he has an incurable disease and goes to his boss to see if he can get himself a raise, get the money, get what he needs to get on the insurance in order to actually get the treatment that he requires here. He's denied, so he goes to try to steal the money for it, and instead, and this ends in tragedy when he's killed and thrown into a vat of toxic chemicals and ends up becoming the Toxic Avenger. Now, I don't know about y'all, that sounds like the origin story of any villain walking around Gotham City, honestly. Now, as for Toxie himself, again, Blair elevates this material of the original film by not just relying on Toxie's super strength in this, and now Toxie has just a handful more powers given to him by the toxic waste. And it kind of does make sense. There's nothing wrong with the original Toxie having nothing but super strength, but in the world we live in now, we kind of want things to be just a little bit more extraordinary, and just super strength by itself doesn't provide that. So the fact that now Toxie's mop is infused with these toxic powers, Toxie's blood has the ability to revive people who are suffering from, life-threatening wounds. All these things that we're getting, in fact, Toxie pops his eye out and uses it as a camera, is so good. I love the fact that we're getting to see all these other sides of what Toxie can do. And honestly, what it made me really think of, and I don't know if this is the goal or not, it's probably not, probably just my interpretation, but it made me think of all the superhero toys we had back in the early to mid 90s, to where, and especially in Batman's case, there was a different variation for everything. There was, fighting in the snow Batman, who came with like the snow shield, and there's aquatic Batman, who's got the scuba mask and everything, and all the different vehicles. And like, for some reason, with Toxie's powers, I just kept thinking, man, I hope this movie goes on to make a shitload of money, because I want them just to go balls to the wall with it at this point. I want a Toxic Avenger like parachute. I want a Toxic Avenger snowshoes. Like, I just want silly stuff that doesn't make sense. I want the Toxic Avenger shark repellent spray. Honestly, I don't know why, but all the various powers we're seeing from Toxie here in this film just had me really thinking about that. I thought it was great. I think part of that also comes from the Toxic Crusaders, the animated show. that they had made at one point that was supposed to be way more family friendly. Something about all the synergy with it is just gold. It's just gold. This movie is hilarious though. I can't think of another film this year that has had me cracking up as much as Toxic Avenger has. Whether it's the poking the fun at the juggalos, like this movie takes so many shots at juggalos in this by one of the villain groups being comprised completely of a juggalo band. I'm still just laughing thinking about it because the way they show them all too is just absolutely hilarious. It's hilarious, but I couldn't stop laughing. I think everybody in this gets a chance to shine with something funny. And I do mean everybody here, y'all. This cast is absolutely stacked. Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay, Taylor Page, Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood. Like, this is a fantastic cast, and I do feel that everybody gets a chance to shine here in this one. Honestly, my biggest negative about it was the lack of Elijah Wood in this film here. His character from the trailers would make you think that he plays a much bigger role in this than what he actually does. And by the time the film had ended, it kind of felt like they didn't make, he wasn't used to the full extent that they really could have. Now, I don't know if that's a script thing, if that's an availability thing there at all, but I was so interested in Fritz having more to do with everything that was going on. And his character arc, fantastic. I think that is completely unexpected because you would expect, I think, a complete opposite end of the spectrum of what they ultimately do with him. And he would be this mustache twirling villain who just has this cackle that's going in anytime something even remotely evil happens. And that's not really what Fritz is about here in this particular case. You might even think on one side that what's happened to Fritz might be linked to what's going on with Toxie as well too, but that's also not really a part of the storyline either. So it just feels that there was more going on with this character and that we could have gotten a lot more from Elijah Wood here in this, who's phenomenal. You just want a little bit more out of him here in this one. That said, it really feels like this might be some of the most fun that Peter Dinklage has been having in years. You know, we're watching Dexter Resurrection right now, and he's amazing on that show. But just listening to the voice work he's doing as Toxie here in this film, I know it sounds light, it sounds jovial. He just seems like he is enjoying these sessions, enjoying what's coming out here. And honestly, I really do want to see a sequel like come to fruition here with this, because some of the outrageous stuff that they kind of hint at, which I have to imagine isn't actually on the table, like Toxie going to space or Toxie fighting Dracula. But man, if they could really do that, I would love to hear Peter Dinklage throwing it down for whatever madness they could come up here with this. It's not as bloody as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting the absolute worst here with this, but I feel I've been getting surprised on a number of films like that this year, to where they seem like they're gonna be the ones that are just gonna be absolutely filled endlessly with gore all throughout it, and then it ends up being like there's some, but not close to what you were actually thinking. And the Toxic Avenger is for sure on that list. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some gross out moments in it, but at the same time, it feels like it's kind of like at a level 8, and it never really actually gets to level 10. Not an insult, nothing negative, because I do think, given what we do see, had they taken to what I believe is a 10, then you're probably going to turn some folks away from it for sure. But it's just an interesting observation that I had with it. There are definitely films out there that have been far gorier this year, and it seemed like a lot more CGI than just practical effects. Now, I am not somebody who is very anti-CGI. I do prefer practical effects when we can get it, but I also understand, depending on the kind of film that you're working on, depending on the budget you have for it as well too, sometimes CGI just makes more sense. So there's a lot of that featured here for sure in Toxic Avenger, and there's probably going to be a few shots where some of you are thinking this would have looked amazing doing practical effects as opposed to going the digital route, but I'm going to give them a pass here on this one because I do think that it all looks really good regardless, and the scenes they do use it in, oh man, is it bloody for sure. This is without a doubt some of the most fun that you're gonna have watching a film like this all year, honestly. It is surprising in every single way. It is the best superhero film to come out this year. It is better than Superman, it's better than Fantastic Four, it's better than Captain America, Brave New World, it's better than Thunderbolts. Like, we've had a decent amount of films this year, and it's better than all of those. And if you're a big fan, that kind of tells you the actual quality here of it. Like, it's not even trying to be ironic in this particular case. It is a really, really enjoyable film, and you have to get past the absurdity of the setup to really enjoy it. But if you can do that, this is one of those secret treasures that you're actually going to enjoy keeping on anytime it pops up on TV. Beyond that, the fact that the filmmakers are going and they are reimbursing unpaid medical debt right now for every million that this film makes. Y'all support this movie. That is a great, great mission to put out there, and right at the heart of how Winston becomes the Toxic Avenger here in the first place. How can you not support it? I've seen it once. I will probably buy another ticket or two just to go towards that cause, honestly. No better way to go out and spend your money here right now. The Toxic Avenger, y'all, believe it or not, is getting a 4.5 out of 5 from me. This has stuck with me since I've seen it, and there have not been a lot of films this year that have just been locked into my head ever since I've gone and checked them out. One of the absolute best of the year, uses its cast phenomenally. There are great effects in this. It is a strong superhero story, and above all else, it made me want a sequel. This is what I want from the movies that I'm seeing in theaters, y'all. So go and check this one out. Let me know in the comment section here what you were feeling about the Toxic Avenger, whether it's the original, whether it's the reimagining we're talking about. It's all good. And of course, make sure you are following me. The best way to do that is to follow my link tree, which you can do by going to linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, my TikTok page for short horror content, including movie news and movie premieres, my Twitch page for horror gaming, including Phasmophobia, and my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of this, y'all. Hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, no matter where you are tuning in. I want to get these numbers up so I can keep bringing you all the great horror content that y'all are wanting to see. And this week, we are playing catch up on Alien Earth and Dexter Resurrection. A lot is going on in those shows, and y'all, I have just been swamped with stuff. So I know we're playing catch up. We're going to raise one up for my man Angel. But we are going to get caught up with Dexter. We're going to get caught up here with Alien Earth. And then we also have Fright Night coming. We're going to be talking street trash. Yo, I got so much fun stuff coming up. I'm excited to talk about with all of you. But of course, let me know what you're watching here for this spooky season, folks, because it is underway. That is it tonight, though, y'all. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.